welcome to another episode of the Cattle USA Daily Podcast. Today we are welcoming back Gary Lezak with the Weather 2020 team, and Gary's talking all things weather, long-term weather predictions, and what we are seeing currently in the weather pattern. And then he drops a pretty big bombshell on what we are going to be seeing going into harvest. So the end of September, early October, he drops some pretty big news that everyone needs to be listening to on what we're going to be seeing at the end and beginning of those months and how you guys can start preparing for that as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into this episode with Gary. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. It's
Welcome
great to
back.
be here. A lot going on. We are in the first 10 days of August, so a lot to talk about today. How are you?
I am great. It is a beautiful day here in Kansas.
Wow.
I cannot complain. It's a busy day. It's been a crazy morning already, and it's going to be a busy rest of my day, but I'm excited for it. It's great. My caffeine, I don't really have caffeine in the mornings when I'm just like at home. I'm not like a morning coffee drinker typically. Now, if I'm going out and about, I'm going to go get a coffee. Like I'm going to go out and get a coffee. I'm just not going to make one at home. But my morning energy levels are finally starting to kick in. So like I'm ready to go.
That was my first sip of coffee.
Here.
That was right there, my first sip of coffee. I did the philosophy and it absolutely works. I'm going to just attest to this. I had 3 big glasses of water. Well, 2.5. It's almost done. 2.5 big glasses of water before I had any coffee, and it's energizing, and it's good to flush your system. Let's just put it that way. It's good to feel good.
No, it is. And then also, even if you don't drink that many cups of water before you drink your coffee, you should wait at least 90 minutes after waking to drink your coffee and caffeine, because like it doesn't actually like work in your system properly until that time anyway. So you should just wait the 90 minutes because your body will thank you.
I love that. It's been 95 minutes, so
perfect timing. Wonderful. Well, Gary, what is happening as far as the world of weather goes?
Well, while we're recording this on the Wednesday before the Friday, let me just tell you this. Thunderstorms moving into northwest Missouri. They were up in North Dakota yesterday, and they produced 3 to 5 inches of rain across North Dakota, southeast North Dakota, Fargo area. And it's a prediction. Dean Wysocki, who works up at WDAY radio up there as a meteorologist, he predicted it 3 months ago using the LRC on the Jay Thomas show up there. He said, listen, they have this big festival going on right now. And I said, that week, it is going to be, which is this week, a very stormy week. So it is right on schedule.
Well,
and
would
so
you
they're
look
getting
at that?
hit. And now that complex of thunderstorms, sometimes these complex of thunderstorms have a mind of their own, and they're like little hurricanes over the land. And this looks like one of those. It's got a big complex. We call it the Mesoscale Convective System, an MCS. And it formed over North Dakota yesterday. And here it is, while we're recording this, it's moving into northwest Missouri and may make it all the way to Kansas City this morning. So not that it's hard to predict them. I mean, we thought there was a slight chance, but here it's coming. But anyway, that's been tracking right across these cornfields. And we have a United States bumper crop of corn and soybeans in progress. I'm sure most of the farmers are going to attest to that. There are still struggled areas, but it's I'm sure the price of corn is down, and other areas of the world are not that lucky. Ukraine is one of those. Ukraine, a big agriculture nation. Of course, they're in war right now, unfortunately, but they have also been suffering through a horrible drought for 2 years in a row. And it's all LRC related. It's predictable around the world. The pattern is cycling across the whole northern hemisphere regularly at about every 6 weeks.
Yes. Wow. Craziness. What are our thoughts going into the rest of this month? It's finally the 1st of August, which, oh my gosh, I can't even fathom. Okay, it's not the 1st of August. It's the 6th of August, but it's the beginning of August now. How did July go by that quickly?
I don't know.
B, where did summer go?
Yeah.
C, how is it already time for college students to start coming back to town?
I know.
I don't get it.
I know. College students are already back, ready to go, moving into their dorms, moving into their apartments or wherever. And They are ready to roll. So, yeah, I know time is flying by. You got to stop and smell the roses and enjoy every day, as we talk about on this podcast. The inspirational message of the day is to just take a deep breath through your nose, relax, look outside. I'm seeing the blue sky. And right now is all that matters. And it is great for every one of us. It is right now is all that matters. It's great, no matter how bad or good it is. It's great.
It is great. It is
That's my
great.
inspirational message of the day. So, to answer your question, there's a lot going on. Remember early on when we first started talking, and many times we talked about, the blue sky part of the pattern, which we are sort of in right now, but it's going by. And the two phases of this weather pattern. There was a phase one that lasts 2 to 3 weeks at a time, and a phase two. A phase one is when storm systems come into the western United States, drop in through the Rockies in the southwest, allow moisture to get pulled in from the Gulf of Mexico, and that could be very wet across the southern plains, the central plains. And there's a phase two that we are in at this moment that has storm systems being blocked from the west coast that come down through Montana and North Dakota, like this one that's coming in right now, that produced all that rain we talked about at the festival. And then they move into the Great Lakes and out, and they can produce lake effect snow, cooler weather. And these two phases have been going right on schedule. Remember, the weather pattern is cycling at about every 41 days. So right now we're in the phase two part of the pattern, and it's no shock one of these systems is coming into northern Missouri from the north right now. Within the next 10 days, it's going to switch back to the first phase, but it's the August version of the winter pattern. So you're not going to have snow, obviously. So what does this mean? Here's what's happened in the first phase of the pattern. All right. The first phase, phase one, which is the stormier phase. Kansas City had 25 inches of rain so far in this first phase, and only 9 inches of rain in this phase two. So phase one, 25 inches, phase two, 9 inches. Des Moines, Iowa, 21 inches of rain in phase one, and about 11 inches or half of that almost in phase two. In North Dakota, when they're more impacted by phase two, North Dakota just had 3 to 5 inches of rain yesterday. That puts them up to 13 to 14 inches of rain now in phase two, and only 9 inches in phase one. So phase two is wet across the northern plains. Phase one is wet across the central and southern plains. And because of this understanding of this early on in December, we were able to accurately predict. And many of you farmers out there, I would love to get some testimonials. Let us know. But we were saying there's just not going to be a major drought and major heat wave. There has been almost no drought and a couple of small heat waves, and otherwise the pattern has been cycling, and that's what's produced the conditions for what's likely going to be a bumper crop. I mean, August is still a wild card. We're getting closer to harvest, but I'm sure a lot of the corn is awfully healthy out there, most areas, with a few exceptions. So yeah, so we're in phase two of the pattern now, and then here's very interesting for you wondering about harvest, because I know Lauren is going, there goes Gary. He's just going to talk the whole 20 minutes here.
Hush up. I love to hear your voice. You talk away.
But I'm just saying is that pattern is cycling. So we're going to go back into phase one, August 13th, 14th. That'll last till September 4th. Then we go back into phase two, September 4th, 5th, 6th, for about 2 weeks till about September 20th to September 25th. Very important fact here. Listen to this. Here's a long-range forecast for all of you farmers out there, all of you Cattle USA fans. September 20th to 25th, phase one will begin as the jet stream is dropping farther south. So we know phase one brings storms into the west. So that means there's probably going to be an early, we'll call it a rare early storm across the Pacific Northwest that will drop into the Rockies and possibly be very wet, maybe too wet, September 25th to October 10th, because October new LRC is setting up. So I'm predicting right now the end of September, early October, first half of October, as the new LRC sets up, is phase one of this pattern that's going to be going away, but it's still there. It could be too wet. So for harvest planning, I don't know if you can plan it. I'm not the expert at it, but try to get a lot of that done before September 20th or 25th in case that does happen like I'm predicting.
Yes, good to know. That is keen information there for all of you listeners out there.
It's like a mic drop. It's only a mic drop if it actually happens.
Honestly, yeah, that's honest.
It's going to happen.
Yep.
Probability is
Exactly.
90%.
Yeah, Gary's predictability, like actual accuracy, is at 90%, guys. So like, I believe it. I believe that it's going to happen. It's just when in that period, when in those days is it going to happen? All of those things, that's still a little bit up in the air, but we're at least able to sit here multiple months in advance and be like, hey, during this time period, we're going to see extended spouts of rainfall, moisture, all of that. Be prepared. Be ready.
And another point, Lauren, very good. Thank you very much for that. But let me tell you, another point is the last 2 years at least, and it might be longer than that, we have last year's pattern had its own phases, okay? The year before that, a completely different pattern. Every year's pattern is unique. So as we go into the end of September and October and we get in that wet pattern, the last 2 years, I know for sure, were the opposite. It was the drier phase of the weather pattern. And last couple of years in October, it started out very dry and very concerning for drought. So as we were at the beginning of last year's LRC, a lot of people were going, oh my God, is this going to be a dry weather pattern, including me? Because remember, the LRC does not set up until late September. Early October is the beginning, and the beginning of the pattern we're in now started October 5th, 6th, or 7th. And I'll tell you why that is in a second. And then last 2 years, that October 5th, 6th, or 7th was the beginning of the new pattern, which started with a dry part of that old pattern. So it was dry. However, as it evolved, we were able to identify the phase one and phase two, and the rest is history. So why does the pattern start October 5th, 6th, or 7th? We've talked about it before, but just let me explain. There is astronomical reasons. Why wouldn't there be astronomical reasons to the LRC and causes? The Earth rotates on its axis once every 24 hours. The Earth rotates around the sun once every 365 and a quarter days. It's 365 and a quarter. That's why every 4 years we have to have a leap year where we add a day, and so to the calendar to get that back into rhythm. If we didn't add a day, then summer would become winter in about 40 years, and so 100 years. So just know that. But so these natural cycles in astronomy happen. Why wouldn't they be impacting our cycling pattern on the Earth? But the weather pattern is a fluid, and the fluid oscillates. It's not as direct as the Earth rotating on its axis. And so that's why we have the river of air above us flowing around 41 days, but it oscillates between 38 and 44 this year. Next year will be different. Just know there's causes. The sun sets at the North Pole September 23rd. Every year there's only one sunset at the North Pole. It's on September 23rd. It rises on the spring equinox. And then October 5th, 6th, or 7th, when it goes dark there, and that's when the LRC sets up. So there's got to be a relationship to astronomy.
So much correlation. That's so cool. You like, the more you think about it, the more you're like, that makes sense. Like, the more you know. The more you know. Before we round out the podcast or anything, any other major weather things going on? Hurricane season, anything we need to hit on there as we're going into it? Any other highs or lows that we need to talk about in the weather?
Yeah, I posted it. I did a YouTube. You can follow Weather 2020 on YouTube. Subscribe to that channel too. But I posted there and on weather2020.substack.com. Definitely join that.
Yes, we've
Weather
got it in
20
the show notes, people.
Okay, good. Definitely go and join weather2020.substack.com. Let me tell you, I put in there that within 10 days, our first hurricane is going to form. Some of the models don't have it, some of the models do, but the LRC says yes. And there are two chances, one that would threaten South Carolina and North Carolina, and one that would threaten Florida or sneak into the Gulf of Mexico. So we're watching these two parts of the cycling weather pattern that have produced in the past. So we're looking for that. So next week when we talk, I'm expecting us to be talking about our first hurricane is developing. So 1 week from now.
Very, very good to know. Well, Gary, thank you for your time today, as always, and for all of your knowledge and all of the things that you share with our audience. We so appreciate it here at the team. To all of our listeners out there, make sure you check out the show notes. I have all of Gary's social medias, from his X to his YouTube to his Facebook, which he's very entertaining on all of them. So make sure you go check those out. And then got that Substack, got that exclusive Cattle USA link where you guys can head down there and get the Weather 2020 dashboard with an exclusive link because you are a viewer of our podcast. So, Gary, thank you for your time. To all of our listeners out there, we will see you all tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow. This comes out on Friday. We'll see you on Monday on another episode. Have a good one, y'all.